inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try.
Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Sagafar is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio. That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the 8? They get the 8. Numbers. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the CGL Season 14 playoffs. Our EUPC Open bracket continues here tonight in the losers quarterfinals. It's 0907 versus Big Man Ting with an opportunity to continue in this bracket and go up against Everfrog to try and guarantee themselves, a little bit more higher placing.
Yeah, the path is pretty clear as to what you have to do at this point if you want to get to those losers finals. And it's not going to be an easy task by any means, because both these teams being down here, I mean, even though it is the second round still, it seems like a bit of a shock. Both these teams had really good seasons, have had really good performances, so it's shocking that we're going to have to say goodbye to one of them this soon, because both these teams have put on absolute barn burners. I mean, just earlier this week, Big Man Ting went to 5 whole maps and ended up losing at the end of the day to Uri Mirai, unfortunately, in a map that literally came down to one final fight. It was as close as it could have been in 0907, uncharacteristically losing in the first round, but both these Titans coming together. And again, Fletcher, I have to reiterate, it is shocking that one of these teams is not even going to crack into that, that top 3 area.
Yeah, I mean, one of these teams is going to get knocked out before top 4. Yeah. Which is insane, especially because 0907 was the mid-season champion, right? They dominated their way through the first 4 weeks and the first tournament of the season. Like, it was hard-pressed to wrench a map out of their hands over the course of the beginning of this season, and they've taken a step back here in the back half of the season. Still an above-average team, but the Malga meta hurting these teams that dominated so early in the season. It's what I'm gonna call it is this Malga meta has been the great equalizer. Teams that struggled early in the season matching up very, very well against teams that dominated early in the season. I mean, it's a push and pull, and some teams are pulling way more than they're getting pushed.
Yeah, that's the kind of situation we get when these patches kind of come through and there's a big shakeup that comes through, because suddenly comfortability can come into suit. Maybe there's just someone over that's really comfortable on the Malga, on the Reaper. That's always a grand possibility when these meta changes happen. And of course, we're going to have the same exact conversation next week when we got Season 14 around the corner, and we'll have a new patch then. But one thing we do know, well, we don't know the patch notes, we do know the matches for the rest of the day, Fletch, because it's always a busy day here at CGL. Got matches going on constantly for the playoffs. We have Demonkins Vicious Inferno going to be going at it at 8:30 EST, and then Short Bus and YE Snowfall happening just an hour after that. Big implications for both of these matchups. Of course, Fletch, I mean, it's an exciting time to be a CGL fan.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best time of the year, right? This is when there are no, like, I don't want to say bad teams, but there's no
squashes.
There's no easy games left, right? Because you'll get some domination in early rounds, right? But it does feel like we are significantly closer to parity across the board in CGL this season than we have been in a very long time. And it could be this Malga meta, right, where mechanically worse teams have been able to match up against these strong teams that have relied on mechanics as well as their gameplay. Take that element out of it, it's kind of the mechanics are pretty easy, but you have to be smart to play this Malga meta. It is very, very different than anything we've seen in a very long time. So as we continue to get into this playoff, and as we get ready to head into this next season, the Season 14 patch, like you said, looming ahead. I mean, I expect big changes coming out of that, because Malga's kind of dominated for the last month.
Yeah, it kind of has. It's going to be the same situation with Orisa, where Orisa kind of didn't necessarily get killed, but then they bring the buffs that kind of went over time to Malga, made them super strong, and it made them the front runners. So you have to imagine Malga nerfs are likely going to be coming by, and the question becomes, what do you do as a team when that happens? Now, we have seen it on occasion, especially the Orisa meta we just had, where in that first week or so, some teams opted to just keep trying to play it, keep trying to make it work, because that's all you're familiar with. 2 or 3 days is not enough time to practice on a new patch and get a new comp locked together like that. So sometimes you just have to go on what you know and try to make that work. But you never know, Fletch. The entire landscape could change. There could be very big, drastic changes. We've seen it multiple times before in Overwatch 2, and it is 100% bound to happen again at some point.
Yeah, well, enough pondering on the future. Let's look to the present. 0907 versus Big Man Ting. First up, we'll get a look at the lineup for the mid-season champions, now on the verge of elimination. 0907, a little bit of a disappointing backstretch to the season here for 0907. Connie Bones on the DPS, Willie on the tank, Jonowich and Daki in that backline, looking to return to form as this season comes to a close. Obviously, anything short of a win in this tournament is going to be disappointing for them after the hot start they had to the season.
Yeah, it really is. You have to give them the point that obviously they get the momentum back from, that big 3-0 victory. So some level of momentum is going to be in their hands for this match. And as you said, they should be favorites with everything that they have been able to do. But they can't be looking too far ahead, because on the other side of things, they're going to have Big Man Ting staring them down once again to a banger of a map 5 against Uri Mirai. Push them to the absolute limit. Of course, we have Senna and Sander on the DPS. We have Gehek on tank, and then IQ Mighty and Alba on support. And again, this team fired on all cylinders, tried a bunch of different things on their match just a couple of days ago. They figured out what works and what doesn't, but they're going to have to really stand up to the task once more here today if they have any hopes of trying to take down 0907.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a team in Big Man Ting that has had its ups and downs this season.
Yeah.
They've been, pretty middle of the pack overall. And this is certainly, I don't want to say the more expected of the two matchups here, of the two teams in this lower final or lower quarterfinal, I guess. That I don't know why I said final, but 0907 had been dominant all season long, and Big Man Ting, they've been good, right? And now they have an opportunity using this meta of the Mauga, of the great equalizer, to try and knock off a team that has been that dominant force all season long. 0907, they're a great team, but if you cannot figure out how to run this Mauga comp without relying on the raw mechanics that past metas have afforded you, I mean, it's just unfortunate that you probably didn't deserve it in the end.
I mean, it's a fair point because, I mean, great teams aren't built off of just having strong one tricks or things like that. It's about being strong whenever a meta is going to come your way. We've seen teams that, in, plenty of examples, we could go through them all day, of teams that had done phenomenally well and suddenly a meta comes and they just instantaneously fall apart and it doesn't feel the same. Yeah. I mean, and we've seen the exact opposite, where a team kind of flounders around a little bit, doesn't do too well, but they make it in, the meta goes their way, and they start killing it. I mean, that's kind of the example we're kind of seeing with Completely Melted. They had a fair season in their own right, but ever since they hit the playoffs here, they've been absolutely killing it, getting to those upper finals. But as you said, gonna have to see if both these teams can adjust, because, Fletch, we do know our first match here today, or more so, our first map here today, it's going to be Busan, which... This is an interesting map right here, Fletch, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's not one we see very often, right? I mean, there's been a big change up where, usually for, if a team gets to pick the first map, we'll go to Lijiang Tower, but I think I've seen all of one Lijiang map selection here in this postseason. It's actually been mostly Antarctic Peninsula. And Busan is kind of in that second tier, I feel like, just like way down there in the map selection pool. But it is a fair rush map, right? It is, I mean, you think about a map like Mecha Base, where you have to essentially play up in the face of somebody in order to get the most value. I think that's the most rush heavy of the maps for sure. I don't know. I agree. I think Busan is a very interesting pick for this specific meta. I don't know if it's exactly the most conducive. So I'm curious if this map selection comes through because, maybe they want to go somewhere else other than the Mauga. I'm not really sure. But, I mean, Busan is, it's unique. We don't see a whole lot outside of those hardline rush control maps.
Yeah, not really. And it's one of those maps where the kind of philosophy that I've had is that Busan is the perfect control map. Not because it is the best played or because it is the most entertaining, but this is the one where I think there's the most availability for flexibility. Like you said, Mecha Base, that's very much brawly in your face. You go over to downtown, the dive starts to take over, and you head up to Sanctuary, and the poke kind of goes its own way there. So if we're going to see something other than the Mauga comp from either of these teams, it's going to happen here in Busan. It's going to be very apparent out the gate here. So I think at the end of the day, this is an excellent pick just because you're able to find out very simply, our team's going to stick straight to the Mauga comp, or do they have flexibility towards that Diva? Do they have the ability to play something else? Or more so, are they more comfortable playing something else? And right now, it doesn't seem to be the case to start.
I'm going to ignore Willie for now.
Yeah.
But I mean... I'm seeing shenanigans afoot here for 0907. I think Senna on the Sombra is really interesting. I don't think it'll work as well if the Roadhog ends up coming out. I doubt it. Yeah. Senna does end up going over the Symmetra, so I imagine this is just going to be...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it will be the Sombra. Yeah, gonna be trying to wait for that EMP to counter out the cage fight coming up here, and it will be Malgus from both sides with Condi on the Cassidy. Now the poke battle begins on this high ground. IQ Mighty doing a good job keeping these players healthy, but the space being very quickly taken by 0907. Their aggression playing around this natural cover is excellent right now, as they're not really affording big man Ting very much space at all to work with. Gehek looking for something on the off angle, finally going to ignite Willie, who takes a significant amount of damage and a nice hinder there. You would have thought Gehek would be able to run through that hinder, but not a bit of space given up there. And with Gehek going down, and this fight should be taken to the point, there will be someone dropped to the point, and it will be 0907 taking the fight.
Yeah, it will be at the end of the day. And again, I mean, a whole lot of value is going to get Willie at the end, so they're going to push instantaneously into this and try to run them down. But, I mean, the rally's going to be popped as well. That is, that's a choice.
All right, well, rally and orbital ray down from both sides. Jonowich able to clean up their mirror image. This orbital ray going to be so annoying to deal with, and Condi has met their fate at the hands of it. 2 dead for big man Tings, and 0907 will be shoved out of the fight.
Yeah, and you saw the ult usage overall. Big man Ting didn't have to invest nearly as much in that situation. They hold on to that Death Blossom, that EMP. And so now, Senna, in recent history, has used his EMP very aggressively. Not really for the cage fight, but pretty much right upon entry. So I think as soon as we see Big Man Ting come in here together and go in, I think we're instantly going to see the EMP and rush by Gehek right afterwards to try to just delete them.
Well, the EMP will be used to cancel the Deadeye, and I mean, not the right pick there for Senna. Unfortunately, Willie does end up falling here, so this is still very much a winnable fight here for Big Man Ting, even without Senna in the fight. They are not going to let this aggression go to waste. Bones locked up, and IQ Mighty with a right hook to take down that Reaper, and Big Man Ting will retain their hold on this point.
Yeah, it was a bit of a smart choice by Willie's. You kind of saw the reason why Senna ended up being alone. They kind of knocked down the cage fight, and so nobody else could kind of follow up on the hacks. It made the fight kind of even for a while. But unfortunately, Gehek kind of just doubles down and makes sure to get rid of Bones, so the fight's pretty much over. So now, Death Blossom online for Big Man Ting. Likely going to also try to be aggressive with this right now. Could wait for IQ Mighty to get this ult online, but right now, you're waiting to see 0907 get out the gate, and right now, they're just struggling to make it through this choke in the first place. But double super ultimates on the line here, likely to try to run in with Donkey, but we are calling for a pause, so something is amiss right now.
Yeah, I mean, not even able to walk out the door is 0907 right now. Very, very strong defense for the moment. I mean, the EMP was right. Senna does get locked down, and like you said, yeah, Gehek, great cage fight. Even if it only hits one, that's one of the players that is able to get away from most situations. Unfortunately, cage fight, not one of them that hinders all movement abilities, so that Wraith form essentially useless, as apparently the pause comes through because someone's mouse died. Charge your mouse before a match, boys and girls. It's not that difficult. Put a battery in it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, right now we're getting ready to head back in, and Big Man Ting holding here to the teeth, rally down, as well as the orbital ray from the other side. Now it's very fast disengage here for 0907, just running away from that, or rather Big Man Ting running away from the orbital ray. Will have one of their own going to throw that down, and can you guess what is going to happen for 0907? That orbital ray useless. Now the Death Blossom out because there is no shield bash. A nice little boop there, the Deadeye in, and
yeah.
Hey Hunter, they forgot the point.
They did forget the point. I mean, it's a debate whether or not they had much of a choice or not in that situation, getting ran down like that. But someone had to prioritize it. You had a Reaper that could have realistically touched, or even just sending your Brig off the side to get a touch. I wouldn't classify that as a C9, and it turns seems to have the same opinion. But either these these guys are messing with us, or they are going to be trying something different. Gehek was very much willing last time I saw them to switch around that tank role a little bit. That ball did come out occasionally. And I'll be honest, the success kind of varied with the ball here because what Sandra's going to do is going to TP them out. Usually they go over to the Sojourn, but Tracer is also a possibility in this situation. But looks like they're going to go over to Soldier 76, which is interesting.
Whoa!
Hello? Alba's like in the way back. How did that happen?
Yeah, Daki just feeding Alba the shots there, and not a chance in hell that 0907 takes this fight.
Yeah, there's gonna be the
Bones is dead.
I mean, yeah, Bones is basically, and the fight's over already. They get to point. Big Man Ting, again, pulling out the ball. The ball operates on pure chaos. It is so incredibly difficult to deal with. The ball is not something you're going to be able to catch, especially with the kind of DPS that you have. Tracer can track it down, but it's really hard to burn down a ball when they can get up to that 700, 800 HP mark. It'd be very difficult.
All right, well, Willie trying to do it, and unfortunately, that kinetic grasp does not block damage from all angles. Senna on this Widowmaker, taking a little bit of damage there, but Willie actually going to make some adaptations.
Yeah, I like the idea of going right to the Diva. It's a little bit easier to defend your backline in that sense. Sonder still a little questionable being on the Soldier, but it's working as, I mean, Gehek is just causing chaos. It's not giving a moment for 0907 to breathe, and that's exactly what you want. You don't want to give a team like this time to operate and make things work, because the more time you give them, the more likely it's going to fall apart.
God. Well, I mean, Senna needs all the time in the world and takes all the time in the world, finds the pick onto Bones, and I mean, 0907 are just terrified to do anything, and as Condi falls, not going to be a chance.
You cannot play scared. They are playing scared, and I get it. There's a Widowmaker. There's very real justification for being scared of taking certain angles and doing certain aggression. I get it. But at the same time, you have an ability to do something with this. You have a Tracer, you have a Diva, you have an ability to go in and kind of cut things off. But this is the fight where things need to start happening, and if not, this could be a devastating thing because they're already walking into a bad ult economy with a lot of things only sitting at 70+%.
Senna gonna pop the infra sites, and Bones forced to use recall way earlier than they would have liked for certain. The Discord Orb applied and immediately taken off. Bones could not follow up. Now the engagement gonna look for Senna on this Widowmaker, and they are just going to escape essentially unharmed for the moment. There will be a flip coming through before the fight can finish out here, as Alba going to pop the Transcendence to keep the remaining players for Big Man Ting in this game. Orbital Ray down from Janowicz is going to be a nightmare to deal with, and 0907 will be able to assert themselves for the moment.
Yeah, for the moment is the thing right now, and the great side is they only use one ultimate doing it. It might have been the most powerful ult, but they're going to get no cleanups either, but ooh, they're going to invest and get rid of Senna here. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't hate it. It forces Senna back to the spawner. It forces them to kind of reposition entirely in this situation. And now it's a thing of Bones being on them the entirety of this time. So now it's going to come down to some really good ultimate usage here, especially from Daki in this situation. Has to save this ult for the right time. And honestly, with what's on the table, Fledge, it might just be a situation of using it when they feel like their life is entirely in danger. Like, right here, maybe. Like
right now? Yeah. And Will, Senna going to switch over to the Tracer, gets the better of Bones in that duel 1 versus 1. Now going to look for this Soldier 76 who throws down a healing station. Going to be able to top themselves up, but Gehek will not be so lucky. Senna, big question mark
Senna,
over my head.
I'm not sure how they managed that. I'll be honest, they were in the same exact place that John was at. So I'm really curious how they ended up going down. But either way, all we know is Final Fight is on board here. There's only one ultimate currently on the table, but Gehek is around the corner, and now without any Transcendence, this could be a very deadly ult, because all you need to do now is you can send this pressure on to point now, throw down the mines. That is, are they gonna just get I'm about to say, they might get a cap for free here, but last fight going on.
Back visor down for Condi, who the aggressive play not exactly paying off. Gehek annoyed with that Discord Orb, will be able to cleanse that away, and very low is this Wrecking Ball as Alba decides to get aggro with the Transcendence here. IQ Mighty very low, but weathering the storm that is Bones.
Ooh.
Sander comes in with that cleanup 1-for-1 in this fight.
Touch,
you
touch,
have to get
touch,
back to
touch,
the point.
touch,
you have to get back. Guys, twice? 2 times. We've played 1 map.
Okay, the first time, whatever, they got
was
forced
like
out,
questionable.
but
Sure.
the first one is. The second one, no, you can't.
No,
you had the advantage. You can't let that happen. Diabolical.
Nobody knows if they would have won, I guess.
Yeah.
But
they went
here's the
up.
deal, right? 0907 has been so good all season, like winning the midseason tournament, even if it's not for the money, right? That's a big deal. Like, you showed that you were the best team in the first half of the season. That didn't look like anything. That was 2 critical mistakes back to back, right? The first one, whatever, maybe you just couldn't get there. That is what it is. You probably could have sent someone. That second one was boneheaded. It is 96-96 at that point. Somebody has to be on the point no matter what.
Yeah.
And there's just nobody there. I am incredulous at the mistakes that a team that we have seen dominate all season long is making. They do not look disciplined.
I mean, they don't. And like, anytime we're in a last fight situation, if anyone who's anybody has ever been on a team, one of the things you talk about in a last fight situation is who's touch. Like, who's touching, who's going on the point. Same thing with payload maps. It's normally said, hey, if we're in overtime or pushing it, this one person is staying on the cart no matter what. That is your sole job, is to live on this cart. And unfortunately, that clearly wasn't communicated, because I'm gonna be able to watch this here in a moment and see how they went down. But Willie got 2 picks at the very end as well. The advantage was back in the favor of 0907, and I'm not sure what Bone's situation was, but I mean, I just don't know how you don't even just think about forcing that touch. I don't know how that doesn't come to mind with some like level of importance. Like,
I mean, I don't know, man. That was unfortunate, but we do know map number 2 coming up very, very soon. It's going to be Suravasa. I mean, it's just 5 more of these control points to not touch.
That's diabolical.
Okay. Separating. Okay,
Yeah.
we have to put map number 1 behind us, just like 0907 has to. You have to let it go. Suravasa, way more hardline brawl than what, Busan is.
Yeah.
Right? Busan has some flexibility. They obviously couldn't keep up in the dive matchup, between the Wrecking Ball and the Tracer. It was close, but it's neither here nor there. Suravasa, way more reliant on the Mauga. I'm almost certain that is what we're going to see here on Suravasa. And hopefully 0907 will be able to find some kind of footing there, and maybe we'll see them touch a point for once.
I'll be honest, it might be a really good idea, and I think they have some great potential to take this one away, because again, this is a map that they got to play against Uri Mirai, and they ended up actually winning that one. That's one of the maps that they won in kind of in a bit of dominant fashion. They came out, they ran their Mauga, they made it work really, really well. So I know they have the possibility of doing this. They have the possibility of winning this map, and it should realistically be in their favor as well, everything considered. I mean, if you have the situation where things are kind of dialed down a little bit more, you don't have to worry about a ball running around or having to worry about having these touches. It is a situation where if they just focus on their mechanics, focus on their ult tracking, it's the most important things in this meta, in a lot of metas in Overwatch. If you can just narrow down on that Suravasa, it could very well be a quick map for them and a quick way to get themselves back in the series.
Yeah, I mean, it is so important as well. you just have to let the mistakes go.
Yeah.
Right? Because flat out that it was egregious, and I know for a fact that 0907 knows that. My big question is now, moving forward, you have to forget about it. You can't forget about the point again. That's important, very important, but even more important, you have to forget that, you know, these mistakes happened. You have to remember that mistakes do happen, and you have to go into this full steam ahead. You cannot let the mistakes in previous maps slow you down in future maps. It is so important to never let that mental break, because if you do, I mean, that's your season. If you let yourself break, this is the end of the road. You don't have another life to give.
Yeah, it's a situation where you simply have to get it done. There is no excuse. There are no two ways about it. There is not a secret magical secondary lower bracket that we haven't showed you. This is it if they can't make it happen. And right now, we are seeing right now 0907, but they might be messing around with something. They might be having a little bit of fun right now. Is Bones the secret Malga player? Is that what's going on here?
Get off the venture.
I do like that Big Man Ting is sticking with the Sombra, though. I love the fact that they did Sombra. Sonder last time Big Man Ting kind of messed around at one point, but I mean, that's neither here nor there in this situation. But either way, Sombra's back online for Senna. Gonna try to make it work right now, but Andy is over on these. Ooh. Sodium is a very interesting pick.
All right, here we go. Map number 1, Suravasa. Kandi has to slide away under pressure of the virus from Senna. Pressure being put out here by Kandi, and I mean, doing a good job of keeping Senna in check, not allowing those hacks to come through. Now rotating over to the point for 0907. Disruptor shot out. Point flips here for the side of 0907, and now this cardiac overdrive in for Willie. Going to be good to keep this team and themselves up. Heck falls, and with that, the hopes of Big Man Ting early in Suravasa.
Yeah, falls apart. Gonna have a couple of late deaths as well, so you're already looking at the possibility of one fight. So we're gonna do a little bit of like staggering here on Suravasa, because why not? That's really gotta repel it into one fight territory. And the beautiful thing as well, this means Daki and John are both gonna have their What?
Alba lives! Alba lives? Critical mistakes. I mean, the rally comes out. I mean, but even bigger, Alba's able to live and weather the stagger. Now the EMP out for hit, but Senna immediately dealt with. And I mean, that was one of the series of events I've ever witnessed.
That was just pure messiness. Honestly, from both sides in that situation, letting Alba live, giving them a chance to fight a full 5v5. It's just unfortunate that Senna's ult caught everybody, but nobody actually ended up dying because of it. It almost feels like they weren't ready to go in fully on it together. It's also a situation where, by the way, Senna's dead again. That means the fight is kind of newsflash. The fight is kind of.
They're fighting.
I mean, this fight is cooked. I don't know if you can't even take this. You can't.
Yeah, Willie able to track down Sonder, and I'd be surprised if Bones lets this go. Will just chase down these kills, and it's just a Malgo left. Senna gives up on the Sombra.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we were thinking was going to happen. On 07, they streamlined it. They made things very simple, and they're doing this a very simple way, and it's a very effective way. So now they're going to get this point all set up, and right now, ult advantage is definitely in their favor. All 5
Maybe
online. Just a tiny bit. The biggest thing is, man, I was going to say something else. Do not use it all right here. Do not use all these ultimates in one sitting, because if you use 4 or 5 ultimates here, I guarantee you, no matter what they use, it is not worth it.
All right, Bones creeping, crawling in the back line. TP going to come through, and Death Blossom pulled the ripcord, and there's nobody particularly close to that ultimate. Both cage fights invested. Both will be broken. Death Blossom out from Sonder, who finds about as much value as Bones got, but it will be Big Man Ting with the fight win in the end regardless.
Yeah, it's the complete 4-4 trade. Only person holding onto the ult was Kandi in the situation. Senna didn't quite have those online, so now It's going to be the question of whether or not Condi can take advantage of this. And Senna, if they can get their ultimate online, because if they get that copy online, they're likely going to go for the copy onto the Mauga, get their own cage fight, and just try to end the fight very quickly that way.
All right, here we go. Now, overclock in from Condi, who's trying to find something and really not much at all coming through. Condi able to slide away from the stomp of Senna, who's gone over to the Mauga for themselves. No. And, okay, well, or rather Bones, very quickly dealt with in the cage fight, as it will be another convincing fight win here for Big Man Ting.
Yeah, and no realism of a retouch at this point. 75% right now. Your tank is just getting ready to come out of the spawn room. Any hopes of touching are pretty much down the drain at this point, but you still want to press up. You still want to take some pressure, but Big Man Ting have every ability to try to hold on to this. But right now, they are pushing. They're thinking about the touch, and they are going to get it at the expense of maybe a Bones' life.
Yeah, 97% overtime begun. Bones able to survive here. Now the orbital ray down from the side of Big Man Ting, and it will be a trade, actually. Bones for Alba, but with Willie falling. Yeah, Condi is very, very happy to try and keep 0907 in this fight. Sonder used Death Blossom and immediately dealt with, and somehow, some way, Condi and Jonowich bring themselves up from the brink and keep 0907 in Garden.
That was an incredible risk right there in that situation by 0907 to try and bring that one back. But it pays off beautifully, and now there's the question of the touch. And again, I think Big Man Ting can set up a touch. He has to be very smart, and Senna might go down with the double copy. We could see the double Malga in this fight. Could be extremely important for Senna to pass for the rest of the match.
All right, well, here's the touch. Cage fights down from either side. Now Overclock to try and break the cage fight. Will get that done. Will also claim the life of IQ Mighty. No cage fight comes in for Senna. Will end up burning down Condi with that focusing beam. Ooh. And I mean, in another miracle fight, Big Man Ting come in for their retouch. They're gonna win the point.
Yeah, and they're doing pretty back and forth in that sense. You get out some good ultimates too, and Big Man Ting, with how early they got their things out, Senna already a third of the way to the next copy right now in terms of actual ultimates that are going to be ready for the fight. There's not a whole lot. Only people that are really close are Alba and Daki at this point, sitting around that, 70-ish% marker. So right now, both teams kind of want a bit of a longer fight, especially 0907. If you can get that ultimate online, I mean, there's nothing realistic that Big Man Ting is going to have that's going to be able to stop them.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, Big Man Ting don't have an echo. A significant amount of poke and range damage already dispatched of, and Alba's gonna try and find something with this rally, and it's really not gonna do anything more than give Big Man Ting like 100 extra overhealth, maybe, as that fades away. Pretty useless in the grand scheme of this match. 0907 have captured this first clip here. Now the Death Blossom down and out from Bones. Good to take out their mirror image, or at least help with it, and 0907 very happy with the way that fight transpired.
I mean, you have to be in the situation. You get the rally out. You only have to expend one ultimate. And now, you're sitting here, double support ultimates online right now. You're happy, feeling good. You're playing up. You're playing aggressive. You know Big Man Ting has some really good ultimates around the corner. So they're going to be trying to be aggressive in the situation. They're probably going to try to send this aggressively with IQ Mighty. They are known for doing these aggressively, but not aggressive enough to stop a pause from happening, as we have another one coming through. Second of the series, but once again, like I said, those ultimates online, the double Juno ready to go. We see a lot of the time, teams will try to use them pretty back-to-back, or they will try to completely zone out. So I really hope Big Man Ting is just slightly patient with that orbital ray. Just slightly.
But right now, Alba's lagging badly. Yeah. 200 ping for the brig of Big Man Ting, and in the words of Megalass and her response in the lobby, that's heat. That's heat. But I mean, this is a very, very close. At least Garden was incredibly close. Market was shaky, we'll say, for Big Man Ting. I mean, clearly there was a reason that 0907 wanted to come to Saravasa. They look already significantly more confident than they were on Busan.
Oh yeah.
And now we get ready to head back in as Big Man Ting are getting ready to take themselves another fight here. Sonder with the Death Blossom ready to go. Time ticking up, time running out here on Ruins. Get the eyes on Kandi. Going to be able to duplicate over to the Sojourn is Senna. Gonna look to try and build this overclock up here. Doesn't look like that will happen confidently, but 0907 happy to get to 99% and then back out down one.
Yeah, it's not bad. You get the copy out in that situation, so you got something going on your side, and again, you have the advantage in your hands, and now, poor Gahek.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, immediately in with the cage fight, Sonder does not even get a chance to rip the Death Blossom. So now with this orbital ray down and kills in the way of 0907, that will end up being a complete capture here on the Ruins point. And it only costs 2 ults.
Yeah, and now, going on map point over here, Senna switching to their 3rd character right now of this map right now is Gahek. Obviously still in the spawn room right now, so 0907 can just very securely get themselves a spot on this point right now. Gonna be able to play the defenders in the situation, and you can't be too mad about having that position with the 3 ultimates you have at your disposal right now. So Bones and Sonder both need to try to come up big time for their teams right now. Those Death Blossoms could be very, very helpful right now, especially if Bones decides to be a little aggressive here. Right now, they're looking like they're gonna be.
Yeah, there is the Death Blossom out. I mean, a lot of damage in, but that's essentially all that is going to come out of that. The Death Blossom following up on the blender. That is the Cage Fight Blossom combo. And
bye.
Right off the map for Kandi, going to meet with Fred. Oh my god.
Either way, oh my goodness. All right. 3rd one of the series. Everyone, that means you win a free apple pie from your local McDonald's for 3 bosses from CGL. Don't actually do that.
Yeah, tell them Headrammer sent you.
Yeah, they'll know who Headrammer
they'll know what
is.
you're talking about.
All
of them.
Every McDonald's employee is required to know who Headrammer is.
Headrammer is actually the CEO of McDonald's. How do you think he funds CGL?
You know what? Yeah. Then how come we haven't had the McDonald's Overwatch collab? Where's that been, huh? Where's that?
That's Blizzard, bro.
That's Blizzard. Oh.
I don't know what you're on about.
I'm not giving Headrammer any excuses here.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm looking at this fight. That was really, really expensive for one from Big Man Ting. They do end up getting the fight win in. Cost them 3 ults, unfortunately. They did get the rally and I believe the Death Blossom from the side of 0907. Who will have the only ultimate in the lobby coming up in this next fight. So, yeah, we're trying to figure out Alba's internet issues. Maybe head to Micro Center, buy a Ethernet cord. That's the name.
Yeah, it's that situation. But like you said, only 1 ultimate on the table, Kandi. Can't come up big for the team right now, but right now Senna's the only one close to the ultimate, and right now, Blade, not the best thing into this composition, but if you can get Kandi or Daki or Jonowich in a rough situation, you could make it work, and the longer this fight goes, honestly, the better. Kandi gonna try to find something right now.
Rips the overclock there, and some great disengagement from the side of Big Man Ting. IQ Mighty cannot escape, will fall here.
What?
Senna pulls the Dragon Blade and is put down incredibly quickly, and for as questionable of an ultimate as overclock is there, it pulled the attention and got the fight win.
That is a pull by Senna. That is one of those plays where it's either a 0 or it's a hero. Unfortunately, falls under the first category here, as right side for them, they're coming up on this right now on this orbital ray as we speak, 80%, but Daki has had theirs ready to go here right now, so this aggression of a Big Man Ting, honestly, take a super fast fight here. You need to do so to get this ult out.
All right. Well, ultimate advantage still heavy in the wings of 0907. Here is the cage fight in, and yeah, this will not even need to be anything else, as 0907 just used the cage fight and just absolutely bully Big Man Ting.
Yep, and now it's all about making it back to the point. Now, the bright side for them is, well, they're going to play it. They don't have a cage fight, so somebody can get through, but honestly, it's rough because it's 80%, and they're just getting out of the spawn room. The touch is doable, let me tell you, it is, but it's going to have to be Sander who's going to TP onto the point directly, and this orbital ray has to be big because 0907 was conservative, double support ultimates on the line for this potential final fight.
Well, here is the cage fight, and the orbital ray actually will not get into the cage fight of a big man Ting. Alba and Senna, though, keep their hopes alive here on the ruins. The investment in from 0907, but they will get another opportunity here as the ults are not looking very confident for them.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can really do in this situation. It kind of replicates the very first fight from before where Condi had their ultimate online and nobody else, but Senna does have this ready to go, and right now a retouch is looking possible, and they're looking at doing it right now, but I don't know if anybody has it. It looks like they are going to get a touch in the back, but it looks like Bones might have gotten it.
Okay, well, Senna pulls the Dragon Blade again, and will maybe find a kill? No. The answer is no.
And no
Senna
retouch
will
either.
not find a kill, but it doesn't matter in the end as it was only Bones on the objective. Now, headed to a final point here on Suravasa Palace.
Yeah, gonna be ready to go here. This one right now, gonna be all about those rotations right now in this situation. Sander needs to try to find value for the Death Blossom in this first fight because both teams making their way there, but Senna is there extremely early. Gonna be able to scout out and see where everybody's hanging out, how they want to approach this fight. Because with all realism right now, with Sander having his ultimate, they might be in the best interest to push up here on the high ground, knowing they are not gonna have this cage fight ready to go. So they might go in aggressively, give Sander an opportunity to make this ultimate work, because right now, they have the realistic advantage.
Well, there is the Death Blossom out, and I imagine that was Janowicz basically just saying, nah. Now TPing into the back line, Sander will be able to track down the kill onto Condi. Very lucky if they do not get away with this, and seems like Sander will be able to escape. Now cage fight down, and that was extremely creative from the side of Willie, and it will be 0907 losing out here on the first flip, and Big Man Ting pretty confident moving forward.
Yeah, that's a bit of a misplay in that situation, trying to make it work by 0907, but again, still two really good ultimates going to the fight. Big Man Ting's kind of matching them in a lot of senses right now, but Big Man Ting is not going to give them many opportunities to kind of push up here and do their thing. They're not going to let them do the full rotation. They're forcing them to come in right now, because if you have their orbital rate to match, of course you're fine taking like the face-to-face fight right here. You're not even worried about rotations.
Here's the rally, and the Death Blossom immediately put to an end there at the hands of the rally. Shield bash, but the orbital ray, too much damage being put out by Bones on this Reaper. Senna pulling something, finally confirming a kill with the Dragon Blade. Will not find anything but that kill onto Willie, but yeah, that one alone will not be enough to keep Big Man Ting up.
Yeah, and Senna looks like at least they'll be able to live, but that blade is found diddly squat every time we have seen it come out. And I get it, in that situation, if you're in a 3v3, with that Malka being gone and no rally, it's the best opportunity to hit the blade. But right now, you have to worry about even just holding on to the point, as, say it again with me, ladies and gentlemen, we have a pause. Fourth time around, no reward this time. But what we do know, Fletch, is this next fight, I mean, honestly, should pretty much realistically decide who's going to win this, because 0907 is probably going to try to play slightly conservative to try to get some of these ultimates online, because I believe, looking at it now, yeah, they are 80% plus right now to the Death Blossom and to the rally, beating Big Man Ting in a lot of areas in the ult economy.
Yeah, and Condi getting up to their first duplicate after switching over to the Echo. I think that's the right pick, switching off of the Sojourn.
Yeah.
Sojourn is very, very feast or famine if you're going to try to run. Actually, I'm going to just cut off that overall. If you're going to try and run a hit scan at all, you have to find a lot of value. And unfortunately, Condi on the Sojourn, while it had its moments, the hit scan role in general is kind of tucked into the back of the closet. Not really that impactful overall. Echo is. Echo really is. I mean, the Reaper's job in this composition is to basically try and keep the Malga in check.
Mhm.
The Echo is like the main range damage dealer. Like, if an Echo finds these consistent stickies and the focusing beams, she's ridiculous. She really, really is. So I really do like the adaptation from Condi to go over to this Echo and saying, hey, you know what? Sojourn wasn't it.
Yeah, and that's the smart thing in the situation. We see a lot of teams who, will have DPS or tanks even that'll run one character, and they'll very much be in a do or die mode, and they won't really swap off. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it doesn't work, and it still doesn't work. They keep trying it, and it again doesn't work. But one thing that has to work right now is this Death Blossom Sonder, only ultimate by a mile for this big man Ting squad.
Well, they still have time to work with and time to play with. So, I mean, it's just going to be important for them to get something out of 0907 if they can. Sonder TPing into the back line. We see that. They see that. Do they see that? They do. Jonowich shoving that Reaper away. The Death Blossom is out. A lot of damage in from Sonder. Now, there is still a Malga on the side of 0907. The cage fight will be thrown down, but Condi immediately dispatched in that duplicated form. Now rally in from Alba. This is just going to be an attempt at wasting time for 0907 as they're going to wait for their Malga to return.
Yeah, and this is really smart by them in the situation. Now they have the retouch with the rally, and now double orbital ray around the corner. Bucket Heck is going to go aggressive.
Here it is, Gahek with the cage fight, but they are having to deal with an orbital ray, and Senna eviscerated so quickly. The orbital ray into the cage fight. Too much for big man Ting to live through. Willie goes in, looks for this Reaper, gets some help there from Docky. Jonowich does end up dying here, but at 99%, a 2v4 is not exactly the place that you want to be in. Alba, our laggy player, comes back in to try and save the day, but 0907 weather the storm of big man Ting and will take their map pick of Suravasa.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit of a shame we didn't see the aggression a little bit earlier from big man Ting. They had to have known that they were kind of down in the alt economy, but it's one of those situations where you realize that fight, you do have to just take the dry fight and go for it and try to force some good ultimates out. Give yourself a better advantage going into the final fight, because who knows what happens if they take the deaths and it's like, 50-60% and they get a retouch. We saw the previous example where they were kind of in that situation. They got the retouch, they had the advantage, and they took over because of it. So it's just about having that patience, or more so about having that haste when need be. But either way, I mean, Fletch, I think this is just to prove that both these teams very even back and forth. We've seen where their advantages are, and I think right now, if you're in the boots of big man Ting, you are confident. But in the situation, you might be looking to try to go back towards that ball or diva, since you feel like you just have the advantage with it at that point. So it's just something we're gonna have to see for them.
Yeah, and there's a couple of places that they could go. I mean, we still got Dorado in the map pool. We still got Hollywood. I mean, there's a couple of options that they've got to try and force some kind of dive. But now we will cut to a short break, and when we come back, hopefully Alba has figured out what the issue is with that router. So it will be, I believe, big man Ting's map selection for map number 3. We will see where they're going to take us for the third map of the series. It will not be the last. All right, welcome back, everybody. And 0907 remembered to touch the point on Suravasa. Big revelations in the 0907 camp. They do take map number 2, which leads us in it to the back half of this series. Big man Ting for map number 3 have decided that they do want to, at the very least, try to run some more of this divey shenanigans that they were doing late in Busan. Runasapi for map number 3, and we will see what their plan is for this push map.
Yeah, it's kind of a debate at this point because, to be honest, this is only where I think primarily the Malga is the right choice. So I'm curious how they kind of want to go about it in this situation, because you could run something like the Diva here. You could even realistically run something like the Ball here to an extent. But being on Runasapi, that Brawl is still going to play a major factor. So the question becomes, what is realistically going to change? Have you come here simply because you are confident, or are you doing this because you're trying to make sure maybe a different push map doesn't get picked? Maybe there's one you are super unconfident at that you feel like you need to come here and go to Runasapi instead of going to something else like a Coliseum or, you know, like a New Queen Street. But seems to be kind of projecting that point, because as things are right now, no big changes on the lineup as things are. We have that same backline. We have the same tank. Sonderbone still going to be respectively on those Rapers, but Kandi and Senna, again, kind of deriving from what we usually see, the Genji and the Sojourn, respectively. I mean, Kandi got a lot of value on the Sojourn. Senna didn't get as much as you were really hoping for out of the Genji, and I ponder to wonder in the situation, Fletch, can Senna actually find the value in Genji this time around, or is it just going to be a bunch of dry blades that find no value?
All right, well, we will see what the answer to those questions are as we head into Runasapi. These Malgas, of course, just pumping the damage into each other as much as possible with those dual chain guns. Willie getting to use that hyper ring to escape the fight. Now headed over to our good friend the bot here to try and get that push started. Both Malgas popping the cardiac overdrive. Willie actually backing around the corner, opting not to ride out the back half of that cardiac overdrive's time, as push will begin for big man Ting. But doesn't seem like much more than that will occur as Gahek falls, and be very lucky if they are able to get away with this alive.
Yeah, fight's still online though, but Senna will eventually get cleaned up here, and it's just people dying in the point at this juncture. Alba does manage to get Janowicz down with them though, so going into this fight, gonna head back the other way. Senna, I mean, Brightside is already gonna have the blade in the situation, but again, I'll be honest, Fletch, I think Senna, I think it's a rough situation trying to even be on this Genji. I think they've proven that they're going to be able to shut it down here after this blade. I wouldn't be surprised if Senna decide to either match it or maybe go over to their Echo instead, because the Echo can find a lot of value. Because right now, unless this blade does something astronomical, I do ponder to wonder how long they decide to keep this up.
Well, over right down from Daki Kandi, maybe going to use this overclock to try and follow up on it, but that's going to be more than enough to push back Big Man Ting, and they're going to be able to cap the objective, it seems like.
Yeah, nothing really to change it. You could see the speed come through, but unfortunately it's not going to happen, and so checkpoint only 2 minutes in as Kandi wants to hold on.
Yeah, Kandi popping the overclock cage fight out, and Gahek able to get away from it. Very, very lucky for Big Man Ting, but unlucky for Big Man Ting is that Sonder goes down, and the ults come out from 0907, and the roll continues for this team.
Yeah, and Senna's going to take a bit of a late death as well, potentially. They're going to try to get out, but Willie gets the late pick, and now 80 meters. We're probably looking at getting to 90, maybe even 100 before there's a realistic re-contention here. They have ultimates on their side at last. Senna has the blade, and again, I really think this blade needs to come out, and the swap needs to come through. Kandi is finding so much value in the Sojourn, and Senna is not finding anything so far.
Well, here's the Death Blossom out, trapped up by the cage fight, and Alba with 2 picks, cleaning up on the heavy, heavy damage from Saunders' Death Blossom, and Big Man Ting will finally, on this map, be able to find their footing and try and get back to their barrier.
Yeah, they likely won't be able to make it back all the way, given how far back that bot was pushed right now. But either way, we have Senna with the Lone Blade sitting as the only ultimate right now in the lobby. If there was ever a time for them to get the value out of it, it is right now. Skahag is going to go in the drive, and here comes the Blade.
Senna in, looking for Janowicz. Will not be able to claim that life, but Condi good for Sonder on the other side. A lot of health goes down there, but it is unfortunately 0907 for Big Man Ting that are, they're winning out this fight right now. Gahek falls, and 26 meters is all they'll be able to find.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than they had when they started, but it's not realistic. You need to string together multiple fight wins, and again, Senna is still hanging around on this Genji, and I hate to keep hampering the same point as, that was an interesting visual right there, but Senna is, again, just not getting the value. I'll keep hampering on it because it just needs to swap, because Condi is just doing so much here, and Senna, again, is sent back to the Swan Room super late in the situation. Fletch, this is already well into desperation mode for Big Man Ting. This next fight right here, it is must win, it feels like.
Yeah, and it's looking rougher and rougher. 5.5 minutes, orbital raise it down from either side. Cage fight in from Willie, who just explodes, but the follow-up is excellent with the cage. Blossom, the blender in play. 0907 creeping up to this
they don't
finish.
Touch.
They don't touch.
They don't even touch. That is a 5-minute finish on Runasapi. That's, I mean, Fletch, that's something you see in, like, the opening rounds of, like, World Cup qualifiers. That's something you see in the regular season. That is not something you see in the playoffs like that. This was their pick, by the way. This was Big Man Ting's pick, and they got decimated on it.
I really don't have any words.
I have plenty if you don't have any.
Well, I have words, but I don't really want to say them. Senna, I don't like the Genji.
Yeah, I can channel my inner Spectrion, you know.
I think we'd all be better if you didn't. I think the Genji is a pain point for Big Man Ting. It seems like it's a crutch, and it's a broken one. If the crutch doesn't have structural integrity, you can't really move around too good. And unfortunately, I mean, across the board, Big Man Ting just have not been able to follow up on each other like 0907 has. And I think that they're pretty upset about how that first map went, because to be honest with you, I think they were winning out in both of those final fights on Busan. And obviously we'll never know what would happen if they had touched the point, but I think there's a very good chance that if they do, they probably are done with this series now. I mean, those last two maps, strong, comeback from the mistakes on Suravasa and Runasapi basically didn't happen.
It's a tiny little blip on the radar. It took us essentially like 5.5 minutes to finish Runasapi, a map that honestly, with the kind of push that it is, should not be finished in the 5-minute marker. It shouldn't happen. So now you have to be smart in this sense right now if you're Big Man Team, because your options, they are limited in this sense. I believe all we have left at the availability, if I am not mistaken, is we just have simply Escort and then Hybrid situation. But still, it offers a lot of picks. It offers a lot of options. But the question becomes, if you're so dead set on running a Genji, why don't you bring us to that Dorado? Why not bring us to that Hollywood maps where you can get away with not necessarily running the Malga? Because if you run that Genji with maybe a Diva or a Wrecking Ball, that is a great combo right there. That can work great. The Malga Genji, it's not going to work if you try to take us to something like a Midtown where it's just not going to work. It just will not, and it has not worked.
Yeah, but now we are waiting on a map selection. Like you said, there's only 2 map types left, unless for some reason we're able to draw on Hybrid.
It's possible.
Which, unlikely, but possible, yeah. Now, I'm saying the same thing to Big Man Ting that I said to 0907 after map number 1. You can't let the mistakes define you. right? You have to learn from them. And, I'm not, I'm not a pro player. I'm not a coach. I can't, get it down and dirty and tell you what you need to fix specifically, right? But something has got to change because Runasapi was ugly.
Yeah, and the problem is, Fletch, as we're looking at this next and potentially final map, it doesn't look like a lot is realistically going to change. We're going to King's Row. It's very heavily going to be a Mauga style comp. Diva is a possibility here. Ball is a possibility here, but to be very honest, for Mauga is going to be the likely tank here. And again, it's going to come down to Kandi and Senna right now, who have been the two inconsistencies. Not inconsistencies in terms of what they've been able to do, but they've been the only two that have actually really been swapping heroes at all in this situation. So I'm curious what they both want to do in this situation. I think Kandi 100% sticks to the Sojourn until it doesn't work, because again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And Senna is in a situation where they need to discover what the answer really is. Maybe it is the Echo. Maybe it's running the Sojourn back. And in fact, on King's Row, that first point, you can start out with that Widowmaker potentially and try to find some value there, because Senna found a bunch of value back on Sanctuary when we were all the way back over at Busan.
Yeah, I mean, they need something.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's the Echo. I think Echo is the call to make, right? Because we have seen, like, if there's going to be some kind of variation in this Mauga composition, the most common one has been the Echo versus the Genji. I favor the Echo almost every single time, unless the Genji player is just absolutely playing out of their minds, making the value out of basically nothing. But that's just not how it's working out right now for the side of Big Man Ting. So I mean, something's got to change, and I don't know what the plan is here coming in from the side of Big Man Ting on King's Row, because Senna is still going to be playing the Genji.
Yeah, this is... It's curious, especially with them being on the defense first. Once again, that means 097 has opted to attack first in this situation, which not something we see every day, but if they feel like they have the confidence, they have the momentum, it's a situation of, hey, why not? Let's do our thing. But yeah, you've echoed the point already. Senna going to be on the Genji once again here. Kandi going to be popping out on the Widowmaker. Willie obviously just doing a bit of trolling, more than likely, as they're going to get back to the Mauga. Potentially the last map going to be underway here. Senna needs to pop off, and right now Kandi hoping to do the same thing on this opening Widowmaker, and nobody wants to bite right now. Kind of teasing right now is Alba right now, but that is not the fire I'd be trying to sit under right now.
Okay, so now we head to Mandata, where we look for something to deflect out to send that bullet back Kandi's way. Will not connect for Senna, unfortunately. And I mean, Kandi just trying to deal with them right now. Will be able to keep that Genji off their backs for the moment. Not able to get close. Grapple hook up for Kandi. A nice little body shot there into the side of Senna. And now Sonder being sent into, or rather it is Bones being sent in to try and deal with Senna, who has to bail out here. And I mean, breaking the shield of Alba there essentially stopped the shield bash and does end up getting taken out.
Yeah, but the fight is very much still alive. A restart is coming. Senna's going to dive up right now, but here they go. Trying to go in as Death Blossom where?
I guess it doesn't matter, because Gahek and Senna and Sonder all dead. Kandi for a hat trick in that fight. 3 final blows. Fight belongs to 0907, and I mean, the same problems are plaguing Big Man Ting.
Yeah, and this time it's a full-on disconnection happened this time around 0907. And you said it yourself right there. I mean, it's a very good first fight win there for 0907. They take their time because they don't necessarily have to play super fast when you have Kandi over there on the Widowmaker. You're kind of hoping for them to open up with a shot. Instead, it's just like you said, the breaking of the shield. It kind of caused a situation where you can't bash away. And as we're already looking at the screen, we saw the Alba going to go over to that Kiriko, which honestly is not a bad shout. Kiriko can get a lot of value still. The ultimate is still really good. Is it as good as the Juno break? I don't think so. I really don't. But it might give the opportunity to give Senna more backup. I mean, maybe that's what you're going for. Maybe you're trying to give more help to Senna and help them do more. I mean, they are trying things on that side at least, but I mean, I just don't. I just go ahead.
I don't know. I think that the Kiriko is not good in this composition. I will say I would, if you're going to force this Kiriko into this comp, I would rather her replace the Brig than the Juno. I think Juno is just so much better, but I don't know what the Kiriko brings, because every time I see a Kiriko try and match up with a Mauga, Kitsune Rush just is not the ultimate that that wins fights in this composition. I think it can help. I think it's a good supplemental ultimate, but in the past, Kitsune Rush has always been, like, when it has been the meta, pick, it has been this ultimate fight-winning button. And it just is not that when you have a Juno on the other side ready with the Orbital Ray.
Yeah, it's going to be that case again. It's not going to beat an Orbital Ray. It never is, but in a situation where Orbital Rays are both going at each other, you throw a Kitsune Rush on top of that, it does give you a level of advantage, but you don't have the same defense against the Death Blossom either. You have a cleanse, but you don't have the bash to stop it anymore, so this could be dangerous, but Bones far away from the ultimate. His fight's going to be ready underway. IQ Mighty likely get a pulse pretty quickly.
Well, here is the engagement hard from Gahek, and I mean, it's going to be a very, very quick disengagement. It's very smart from 0907, not using their Orbital Ray, running away from IQ Mighties. Now they're going to be able to come back in with one of their own. Death Blossom in from Sonder. Daki claims that life, killed by the torpedoes of Daki, and just an excellent fight there for 0907.
I mean, they picked it up. This team feels different from what we saw them in that very first map, where it felt extremely back and forth. It felt pretty even. Even felt that way a week went over on Saravasa, but with Runasapi, with what we've seen on King's Row, they've taken control back. They look like the team that went and won that mid-season tournament, the one that might go win the whole thing here, but it's an important fight because Big Man Ting just going to have a blade to the name, and with what you're running into, it is not going to be an easy thing to accomplish. Oh, no.
I mean, the cage fight, brutal. Sonder stuck in a corner. They're able to break it in the end as Senna goes into the backline. Almost has the Dragon Blade ready to pull, but it has been one of the more inconsistent factors in this game, and there won't even be a chance to use it.
Yeah, now we're looking at a 5-minute mark to push. That is a metric ton of time to be able to working within this situation for 0907 right now, who could take their sweet time if they desire to. But guess what? I don't think they're going to, first of all, because Sonder's dead. And now you're looking at a rough situation. Ascendant is going to swap, going to go to the Widowmaker. It's better than the Genji, I'll say, but that means the Blade isn't even going to be used. And 0907 are likely going to send one of them on a hunt, as there we go, Senna, getting online with the Widowmaker.
Yeah, I mean, the immediate switch, immediate impact felt. 4 minutes on the clock. Very quick, easy fight off the back of a Senna headshot.
Yep, 100%. Now Senna, again, just needs to be the hero of this situation right now. Needs to just find headshots. If they can find a kill every single fight, it's going to find its value because it's something that the Genji was not finding. As right now, Bones hanging around, Death Blossom ready to go. As Alba is going to go aggressive here.
Wow, yeah, the Kitsune Rush from the off angle, cutting off a push there for 0907. And, I mean, yeah, they're just waiting out that ultimate. It's very easy to disengage from the Kitsune Rush. So no fight essentially comes off of that back. 0907. Posturing now.
Uh-oh, Senna. Senna is not...
See the TP?
Yet, Bones is in a bit of a rough situation, but they have Death Blossom. They have the Wraith. They're still hanging around right now. Essentially, if they can hunt down Alba, but they might get diffed by the Kiriko.
Alba TPing away, so Bones able to weather the damage of the Kiriko. And where was Sonder at that John Witch was able to find that pick? Now we see the cage fight down. Death Blossom to follow up on it, and Senna knows that Reaper is stuck in a spot, and Sonder gonna TP into this one of their own, and yeah, immediately blown up.
That was a choice of all time, but the bright side is everybody just went to go track Senna, which means Alba gets to live a little while longer, and everyone's gonna be back for a retouch here.
Senna does fall, and there will be a very swift disengagement as 0907 wait for their fallen comrades to return, and return they will. Willie not letting the Malga get the better of them here. But Senna is just absolutely finding so much value. This is what we expected to see from them. Condi does end up cleaning them up, but still a 4 versus 4 spawn advantage in the hands of big man Ting. Kitsune rush down from Alba and very fast disengage from 0907.
I don't want to undermine how smart that was from Willie, because Willie just went in, and as soon as an ult came out, he got right out of there. That was 100% meant to get an ultimate, and now Daki has all the freedom in the world to potentially end this all right now with this. Oh, never mind!
Daki has got an opportunity to do what?
Died,
Taken down so quickly as Janowicz gets stomped by Gahek on the re-engage. Willie very low, may get burned, and will get burned 3rd degree from Gahek, and big man Ting off the back of Senna swap. New life indeed.
They realized what didn't work, and they realized what's doing good for them now. And now,
Only took him 3 maps.
just took them 3 maps, you know. So that's a perfectly reasonable amount. As Daki's dead again already.
What, another one for Senna. The cage fight down, holding these players in spot, and a hat trick. 3 to the dome for Senna. 1 minute, 10 seconds left.
Now this is where it gets very, very deadly for Undead, because now can't capital enough time to force them into a lose or draw scenario as the cage fight's out. Did they just solo cage fight Sonder?
What is that?
Solo Sonder, what?
I mean, a very smart disengagement. No, but Senna! Shots up, bones down! Now, overclock in from the side of Condi, but Senna continues to absolutely frag. Alba does end up getting traded, but guess what? Spawn's right behind him. They don't mind that. Kiri can TP right out.
Yeah, and now it's last fight online. You don't have a hope in the world at being able to take this with any time on the clock, and now you're hoping to take this at all because Sonder might have the ultimate for big man Ting, but Condi's going to go for the swap. They're going to get that Widowmaker, and they're just going to match it right now. It's going to be down to one-on-one as they're going to try to chase down with the Diva now. They have literally invested everything to try to take care of Senna, and now Sonder might just get themselves an open road for this Death Blossom.
Right, well, Sonder going to escape here. Overtime begins. 5-minute bank. Eviscerated. Bones. Eviscerated. Death Blossom out from Sonder. Does end up getting stunned out of it. So it will end up being a fight win here for 0907. But the effort cannot be disregarded from big man Ting. Senna decides to throw the Genji in the trash. The right decision. It has not found what they hoped, and the Widowmaker has led them to a brutal defense, and they are holding the line. They do end up giving up the capture, but 5 minutes off the clock for 0907. You could not ask for more.
You really can't in a situation. We were looking at a point where maybe 0907 was going to cap at like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes on the clock. That was a grand potential, and we might be talking like the series was already over at that point. But Big Matt Ting proving they have the ability to come away with the win, and now Senna, I imagine, might just come out immediately on the Widowmaker instead, and this is 100% the right call. They've realized at the very end of things what works, and now they need to make it happen here in the situation. And now Condi going to be over on the Echo. Not the thing I would run into a potential Widowmaker, but you want to see if they can find the value with it in this situation, as nothing else is going to change. Again, the only non-constants in the situation have been Condi and Senna throughout almost the entirety of the series, Fletch. It's one of those situations where Senna and Condi have been doing a lot for their team, both in good ways and in bad ways throughout the series. But right now, Condi needs to work on cleaning them up. If they are able to shut down Senna to make it happen right now, Big Man Ting could fall apart before our very eyes.
All right. A very, very clear line for Big Man Ting. They've got to finish the map. Senna looking for the opportunities to take them out with these headshots up to the high ground, going to find some potential damage here. And Condi caught out. Some body shot damage there, will get healed up in the end, so not too worried is this Echo. And Senna can just see them through the gaps of Mondada with the little kid there, and now Senna dropping down, rotating around the statue. 0907 pushed back, and Senna up. Condi down, and that is the go button. It has to be hit for big man Ting. Without Condi, that's a significant amount of damage gone. Gahek shoving these players into the hotel, and now the hard engage from Gahek in. Bones forced to use the Wraith form. Sonder does get dropped, but 2 ticks is going to be where big man Ting is halted for the moment.
Yeah, Willie's just cleaning up house at this point. You saw that. You saw the engagement. Willie went over the point. Everybody else on the side of 0907 just went towards the backline and ran them down. It caused everyone to kind of split up, focus a little bit, and to give them a massive advantage. Speaking of advantage right now, going to have this cage fight earlier in the sense. Heck, could still get it online around the same time right now, but it's going to be all about the ultimate usage here. And again, Daki seen multiple examples where they needed to live to be able to use their ultimate. Hopefully they can live this time.
Yeah, and now cage fight is down. IQ Mighty joins the fray. Will not be able to build up to that orbital ray, but I mean, that was a very quick fight, and big man Ting only invests the rally.
Yeah, it's really smart in that sense. They realized kind of early on in that fight that they likely weren't going to take it away. Senna was going to be able to find a headshot through that right now as Bones is hanging around. Certainly they notice, which they would have anyway, but now the advantage is in your hands. Senda uses the sights. Everybody has to hide away. There's no choices there, and now big man Ting know where everybody is, and at this point, they should know exactly what to do.
And Bones heads into the fight, and a beautiful whip shot from Alba shoves them out of the hotel reception desk, and Condi on the off angle. Senna's a little bit lost. I don't even see where Condi went off to, but does end up getting the better of Senna in the 1 versus 1. IQ Mighty deals with the duplication, but it will be a fight win there, and Sonder taken out. This is not how this fight was supposed to go for big man Ting. They had everything and they lost it all.
Yeah, Condi now swaps again. Going to be over onto the first of the Tracer, but just do that to get, I believe, a little further out of the spawn room and goes over to the Echo. And now, I mean, super important fight. There's not a lot on the line here right now. If this rotation goes through one more time, 0907 is going to have everything they need to win the fight. So right now, it's on the back of these DPS to make it happen. Willie, having the cage fight, has to try to find some picks. So they have to know that Sonder is hiding around this corner ready to go.
Senna! Thought they swapped over to the Genji. Ends up going right back, and Condi displaying their distaste for how that went. And the Death Blossom will claim the life of the Malga, and Senna goes back to the Widowmaker, claims 2 headshots, 30 seconds on the clock. Big man Ting break the hold.
Yeah, it managed to finally break through. Significantly less time than 0907 had on their attack, but you got to be happy with that. You managed to get through. You got 3 minutes. Salba might be actually going over to the Ana, which I think this is a debate. Again, it's a situation where they're not going with the break right now. But if you find a good nade, it's going to help Gahek a lot out in that Malga 1v1 right now. So, I mean, this is just like...
Oh, my God! Just so smooth with the aims. Senna keeping themselves in this fight. Unfortunately, a cage fight and a Death Blossom a little more consistent than the headshots as Bones kills 3.
Yeah, unfortunate situation. Willie's going to take a nice little nap right now. We're going to see if Alba can get out alive right now. Going to try to get them. It looks like they can't invest.
Ankle snapped.
I mean, they couldn't even invest. They didn't get an opportunity to. They probably would have died trying to kill Alba, even if they got away with it. But now Senna, again, he's come back online right now. IQ Mighty going to have Orbital Ray ready to go here. Want to take the aggression, and here they come.
Orbital Raid down from IQ Mighty. A very swift disengagement here from 0907. Sights up for Senna. Fight not even really particularly happening now. Senna wants to go over to this off angle. You can see where they're posturing from. Senna, what are you looking for? What are you looking for?
I think they're hoping that Bones, for some reason, jumps out into the open, which they would not do that, and they're not going to do that. So that ult does nothing right now.
Ooh, Daki is absolute here, only getting the healing out from that rally and Inspire, but it's going to be enough as, I mean, Senna jumped by Condi. Gahek only claiming that life onto Condi, and last man standing.
Yeah, and they will end up losing Condi, as you said, but Condi will be back in time for this upcoming fight. Sonder, again, gonna have to come online here, but we got a Nano coming online here, likely gonna be thrown in the way of Gehek, as Willie was trying something a little fancy there. Did not quite work out, but either way, Big Man Ting need a big time fight here to keep their chances alive as Willie gets hit with the anti-nade. Gonna get forced out of the fight.
Yeah, anti-nade down, and Sonder going to be death blossoming here with that help of that Nano, a little bit of Beyblade action. Talk about Overwatch Classic there. And, I mean, with Willie going down, it's going to be a very, very hard disengage from 0907. Try and get one more.
Yep, 3 on the cart. They need to put 3 bodies on this cart right now. Give them every chance to force 0907 as quickly as possible, or force a situation where they can't touch properly. But they're ready to go. And with the copy, Death Blossom ready, this could be it. Ooh.
Yeah, there is the deny. Wait, actually, Sonder TP's right through the cage fight, and as that cage fight goes away, I mean, just not. This map's over.
This might be cooked right now. Big Man Ting, they got 3 alive right now. IQ Money, rough situation, 99%.
99% will get it. You have to use it. You have to use it. You have to use it, Mighty. You have to use the ultimate, man. Why don't you pop the ultimate?
If I'm in that situation and I'm realizing the fight,
you let it go as soon as you get it.
You have to. There's no choice there. It's the final fight. It doesn't matter who you have left. Nobody is coming back to touch. You are it. You have to engage and help people survive, because that's health. Who knows if who knows if you get to live in that situation if you're Senna. Maybe you find those headshots. Maybe you pop off. But I mean, to be fair, that's one mistake just on the pile of the mistakes that were unfortunately made today by Big Man Ting, and unfortunately their journey is going to come to an end here this season. So 0907 confidently going to move on after those last 3 maps, especially. So, I mean, Fletch, it's just a I don't know. I think it's just an unfortunate situation. They found out what worked, and they found out honestly just way too late into the game.
Messy. One word: messy. Messy. Just unfortunate for Big Man Ting. You know, they looked pretty good on Busan, but after that, it was kind of rough from all of it. Just not the cleanest I've ever seen. And 0907 weren't particularly clean themselves. It wasn't as messy as what we saw at a Big Man Ting. They made less mistakes, which they did not start off that way.
No.
But I think that's just what this match came down to. It usually is some kind of, you make less mistakes, you're probably going to win. But that was the win condition for 0907. You mess up less, you win the series off of that. I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. And 0907 still alive. I'm sure it was a little bit closer than they would have liked to admit that it could have been, but they survive, and they'll go to play Everfrog in the lower semis.
Yeah, and it's a match we're obviously very much looking forward to. Again, it's very telegraphed what they're going to have to do for the rest of the series. Again, they need that win against Everfrog, and then they'll go up against the loser of Completely Melted and Uri Mirai. So it's a situation where, again, they want to try to make it back, especially maybe try to get that rematch against Completely Melted. It could happen there in the grand finals. I'm sure that's something that they would desire, but Fletch, that is something that is that's in the distant future. But I think there's something else, Fletch, that might not be in the distant future. In fact, it might be on the other side of the break, because we're gonna have ourselves an interview from one of the members of 0907. So we got to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have that interview all set up for you. So make sure you stick around.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and we've got Willie here from 0907 to walk us through this match. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna cut straight to it. What happened on Busan?
Well, I think we had like a 2-hour warm up, and I decided to do some tomfoolery and troll on Mauga, especially the first Busan map. But I feel like after that we kind of locked in. That's like kind of the general.
Yeah, I mean, what was kind of that locking in like? Because obviously, unfortunate situation, it kind of had to happen back to back on Busan. So, I mean, was it just a casual like lock back in for the team, or did y'all have to like have a bit of a speech as to what happened that first map?
I feel like when we won Suravasa, I feel like we realized this is slightly more close than we would have liked. So we, at least like the coaches and the rest of the team, we decided to start taking it a bit more seriously. So I feel like we improved our gameplay by, well, just, I guess, kind of just locking in, but at the same time knowing the risk, since this was the loser bracket match.
Yeah, it really felt like the team kind of locked in as soon as we kind of hit Renaissance. Everything kind of flowed in from there, especially. And I mean, you have one heck of a team behind you. By the way, again, a team that went and won that midseason, a team that did a phenomenal job, kind of bouncing back today because we were worried after that first map, but y'all made it happen. I mean, I really want to know what it's like behind the scenes with these players, like what it's like being able to play this game with them, and kind of the excitement you all feel, kind of fighting for your lives down here and the opportunity to get back. So to shorten that up, because I'm one hell of a rambler, I mean, what is it like for you having this journey like through CGL this season?
Well, I feel like for the wait, can you repeat the question? The last part?
Oh, yeah, like, what is it like for you, like, in the season of CGL? Like, for you personally, what's it
like? Well, I feel like, to be honest, like, this is kind of like a tournament you play here and there, and then at the same time you play, like, other more main tournaments. So for us, it's more like, just come in here, play it like a scrim and try to improve as much as possible. And I feel like, at this point, like, for me at least, it's more or less just like a scrim opportunity and a chance to improve. In my opinion, at least.
Okay.
All right. Well, y'all do end up getting the win there. I kind of noted that it was probably a little bit closer than y'all would have liked for sure. But now Y'all move on to play Everfrog in the lower semis. Now, before we send y'all out here to go get ready for that game, I guess, is there anything that you'd like to bring up that maybe we didn't, or any shout outs that you would like to make for 0907?
I mean, in my opinion, there was no one that stood out, but I feel like after, like not in a bad way, but I feel like after Suravasa, everyone started playing way better, and we all, like in my opinion, everyone focused up, and we just all became way better. So I would just say the whole team, to be completely honest.
All right, well, shouts out to 0907 for sure, and thank you, Willie, for coming to talk to us here today, and we wish you the best of luck in everything else y'all got going.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. All right, well, Hunter, that's going to do it here for this one tonight, but we are not done yet. The NA side will have a couple more matches going. Of course, 0907 got the win this afternoon against Big Man Ting, but we got 2 more matches guaranteed to happen. Demon Kittens versus Vicious Inferno, and Short Bus versus YE Snowfall. I believe the Demon Kittens is the lower semifinals.
It's a lower semifinals, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's the lower semifinals, and then Short Bus versus YE Snowfall going to be a winners final in the NA console open tier. So still a lot of Overwatch to be played today. As Hunter, why don't you walk us through what our bracket here is looking like in the EU PC side?
I mean, yeah, we have gone from 8 teams here down to 4 now. Still have to decide both of our spots for the grand finals. We know for a fact one of them is going to be completely melted, or Yura Mirai. And right now, 0907 and Everfrog both fighting for an opportunity to get into the losers finals, give them a chance to fight for a spot in the grand finals. But either way, all these teams feeling confident, coming off of big wins, all of them right now. None of these teams coming off of a loss right now. So it's a situation where all of them need to take all the momentum that they have gained, everything that they have fought for so far in the season, because it's all very much on the line. And it's a situation where you don't want to lose anymore. If you're in the bottom right now, you literally cannot lose anymore. 0907 and Everfrog have had to fight for their life. Both of them have had to fight twice for their life to kind of double down on that. And Everfrog, they've got the double 3-0. They're hoping for the hat trick 3-0, but they have the favorites ahead of them right now. And I mean, Fletch, I think this is genuinely a bracket where it could go any way right now, because all 4 of these teams seem confident. They seem like they're ready to go. And honestly, I am stoked to eventually see that completely melted and Yuri Mirai game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting. We are coming down to the end of the season. No freebies left. So, I mean, you heard it. 0907 kind of came into this and expected a walk, right? They expected to kind of just chill out and play this game, and you just can't do that anymore. It's just not how this is going to work. If you want that prize money at the end of the road, you are going to have to work for it. But now their work is done for today. Our work is done for this afternoon. 0907 get the win over Big Man Ting 3-1. Thank you all for watching. We will see y'all in the games this evening.